The rain hammered down like fists from an angry god, turning the highway into a river of regret as my car's engine sputtered its last defiant gasp. I slammed the hood shut, cursing under my breath, the cold metal biting into my palms while thunder cracked overhead, mirroring the storm raging in my chest. I'd driven out here to escape the suffocating lies of my double life, only to strand myself in the heart of Seattle's relentless night. And then, like a shadow materializing from the downpour, headlights sliced through the chaos, pulling up behind me with a gravelly rumble that felt like fate's cruel joke, or maybe, just maybe, its twisted mercy. I wiped rain from my eyes, squinting into the glare as the driver's door creaked open. A man stepped out, tall, built like he could bench press regrets, his flannel shirt clinging to broad shoulders, beard trimmed just enough to hint at the wildness beneath. He grabbed a flashlight from his truck, the beam cutting through the sheets of water like a lifeline. "Need a hand?" His voice was low, steady, cutting through the roar of the storm without effort. And in that moment, with my heart pounding harder than the rain, I realized this stranger might just be the spark that ignites everything I've been too afraid to burn. He moved closer, unfazed by the deluge, his hazel eyes locking onto mine with an intensity that made the chill seep deeper into my bones. "Name's Jordan," he said, extending a calloused hand that I shook, feeling the warmth of it jolt through me like electricity. "Looks like your alternator's shot. I can give you a jump, but it's not going to hold in this mess. You got a place nearby?" I nodded, stammering out my name, Alex, and something about a motel off the interstate, my voice lost in the wind. But as he popped my hood again, his fingers deft and sure, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just about the car. There was a pull, magnetic and unspoken, the kind that whispers promises in the dark. We worked in tandem under the feeble shelter of his truck's tailgate, sparks flying from the cables as he connected them with practiced ease. The rain eased just enough for me to catch glimpses of him, the faint scar tracing his jawline, the way his lips curved in concentration, the subtle flex of his arms that spoke of hard labor and harder losses. "You military?" I asked, nodding at the faded tattoo peeking from his sleeve, a compass rose wrapped in barbed wire. He paused, the jumper cables humming between us, and let out a short laugh that didn't reach his eyes. "Was. Iraq couple tours. Came back in one piece, but pieces don't always fit right anymore." His gaze flicked to me, searching, and I felt exposed like he could see the fractures in my own armor. The job in tech that paid the bills but starved the soul, the family back in Portland who loved me, but not the real me, the endless parade of anonymous hookups that left me hollower each time. The engine roared back to life, a guttural victory cry against the night, and I exhaled in relief. "Thanks, man. Oh, you won." Jordan straightened, wiping his hands on his jeans, water dripping from his hair like tears he wouldn't shed. "Follow me to that motel. Roads are slick as hell out here. Last thing you need is another breakdown." I agreed, sliding back into my car, the heater blasting warm air that did little to thaw the knot in my gut. As I tailed his taillights through the winding streets of Capitol Hill, the city's pulse throbbed around us. Neon signs flickering in dive bars, couples huddled under umbrellas, laughing into the storm. Seattle had always felt like a city of secrets, rainy veils hiding the truths people buried deep, and tonight it seemed determined to unearth mine. The motel was a relic from the 70s, its vacancy sign buzzing like a neon heartbeat, parking lot pocked with puddles that reflected the overcast sky. Jordan pulled in beside me, killing his engine with a final sigh. We dashed through the rain to the lobby, where the clerk, a grizzled woman with a cigarette dangling from her lips, handed over a key without a second glance. "Room 7, second floor, overlooking a courtyard strung with fairy lights that danced in the wind." "You good?" Jordan asked as we reached the door, his shoulder brushing mine in the narrow hallway, sending a shiver that had nothing to do with the cold. I fumbled the key, my pulse racing. "Yeah, just. Thanks again. Stay for coffee? Least I can do." He hesitated, that guarded look flickering across his face again, but then he nodded, stepping inside as if he'd been waiting for the invitation. The room was sparse, a queen bed with a faded quilt, a chipped nightstand, a TV bolted to the wall, but it felt intimate, charged, like the air itself held its breath. I brewed 2 mugs from the ancient coffee maker, the bitter steam rising between us as we settled on the edge of the bed, knees almost touching. "So, Alex," he said, cradling his cup, steam curling around his fingers. What brings a guy like you out in this mess alone? Running from something or toward it? His question hung there, direct as a punch, and I felt the walls I'd built start to crack. I took a sip, the heat burning my tongue, buying time. Both, I guess. Job's killing me. Endless code, deadlines that bleed into nights like this. And home. It's complicated. The words tumbled out before I could stop them, the rain pattering against the window like applause for my confession. Jordan listened, really listened, his eyes never leaving mine, and when I trailed off, he set his mug down. Complicated's my middle name. After the service, I bounced around construction gigs, odd jobs. Thought I'd find my place, but mostly I just found bars and bad decisions. He paused, his hand resting on his knee, inches from mine. But tonight, helping you felt, right? Like maybe the universe threw us together for a reason. The room seemed smaller then, the space between us shrinking with every shared breath. I turned to him, our faces close enough to feel the warmth of his skin, the faint scent of rain and pine clinging to him. What if it did? I whispered, my voice barely audible over the storm outside. His hand moved then, tentative at first, fingers brushing mine in a touch that ignited something deep and dormant. Time slowed, the world narrowing to that point of contact, and when he leaned in, closing the gap, his lips met mine with a hunger that matched the thunder, soft at first, then urgent, tasting of coffee and unspoken longing. We broke apart, breaths ragged, eyes locked in a silent question. Alex, he murmured, his thumb tracing my jaw. I've been running too. From the guys I loved in the sand, from the discharge papers that said I wasn't fit anymore. But you feel like stopping. I pulled him back, our bodies aligning in a tangle of limbs and damp clothes, the bed creaking under our weight as the kiss deepened. Hands explored, his rough palms sliding under my shirt, mine threading through his hair, each touch peeling away layers of fear and facade. The rain outside crescendoed, but inside, it was a symphony of rediscovery, bodies moving in rhythm with hearts that had been silent too long. Hours blurred into a haze of skin and whispers. The motel room, our sanctuary against the world's judgments. Jordan's scars told stories under my fingertips, the jagged line from shrapnel, the faded ink of lost comrades. And I shared mine in return, the invisible ones. The coming out fight with my dad that ended in slammed doors, the grinder ghost that promised connection but delivered only echoes. We made love with the ferocity of the storm, slow and reverent one moment, crashing like waves the next, until exhaustion claimed us, tangled in sheets that smelled of us. Dawn crept in gray and hesitant, filtering through the curtains as I stirred, Jordan's arm draped over my waist like an anchor. For the first time in years, the knot in my chest loosened, replaced by a warmth that scared me as much as it thrilled. He woke with a sleepy smile, pulling me closer for a lazy kiss that tasted of possibility. Breakfast, he suggested, voice husky from the night. We laughed about it later. Pancakes at a greasy spoon down the block, trading stories over syrup-slick plates, the rain finally giving way to patchy sun. But as we parted in the parking lot, keys in hand, reality loomed. This doesn't have to end, he said, cupping my face, his eyes fierce. Give me your number. Let's see where this road leads. I drove away with a grin that felt foreign on my lips, the alternator humming steadily now, but my mind raced ahead, to calls with my sister who might understand, to quitting the job that dimmed my light, to Jordan's texts lighting on my phone like beacons. Little did I know, the real breakdown was just beginning, the kind that shatters illusions and rebuilds stronger. But that night, under Seattle's unforgiving sky, he'd offered more than a jumpstart. He'd handed me the map to a life worth living, one heartbeat at a time. As the days stretched into a tentative rhythm, Jordan and I wove ourselves into each other's lives with the careful steps of dancers testing the floor. Texts flew between us like confetti, silly memes about rainy commutes, late-night voice notes, confessing dreams that tasted like vulnerability. He lived in a converted warehouse loft in Fremont, walls splashed with murals he'd painted during sleepless nights, canvases leaning like forgotten soldiers. I visited one evening after a grueling debug session, carrying takeout from a hole-in-the-wall type place, the spice mirroring the heat building between us. He greeted me at the door with a kiss that lingered, his hands framing my face as if I were a fragile masterpiece. "Miss this," he breathed, pulling me inside where the air hummed with the scent of turpentine and fresh coffee. We ate cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by half-finished sketches, portraits of strangers with eyes that held too many secrets, abstracts swirling in blues and grays like storm clouds. "Art's my therapy," he explained, Fort pausing midair. After the desert, words failed me. But colors, they say what I can't. I watched him, mesmerized by the passion in his gestures, the way his fingers danced as if still wielding a brush. That night, we made love on a futon overlooking the ship canal, the water below glittering under bridge lights like scattered diamonds. His body moved over mine with a tenderness that belied his strength, whispers of, "You're safe," and "I've got you," weaving through the gasps and moans. Afterward, lying spent and sated, I traced the compass tattoo on his forearm. "Does it point true north?" I asked, half joking. He turned serious, eyes distant. "It was supposed to, but war spins you off course. Lost a buddy there, Tommy. We were more than that, in the ways you hide when death's knocking." The confession hung heavy, his voice cracking on the edges, and I pulled him close, holding the pieces as he finally let them fall. My own secrets clawed their way up soon enough. A week in, my phone buzzed during dinner at his place. Mom, her voice tinny through the speaker. "Alex, honey, what are you bringing that nice girl for work to Thanksgiving?" "Your father's asking." The lie I'd fed them months ago, a shield against their conservative Midwest roots transplanted to Oregon suburbs. Jordan paused, chopsticks hovering, his expression unreadable. I ended the call abruptly, forcing a laugh. "Family stuff. They mean well." But he set his bowl down, hand covering mine. "You don't have to perform for me, Alex. Whatever it is, I'm here." The words cracked me open. Over the next hour, plates pushed aside, I spilled it all. The closet I'd crammed myself into at 18, the rejection from Dad after a drunken slip-up at a family barbecue, the parade of straight dates to keep peace. Jordan listened without interruption, his thumbs stroking my knuckles in steady circles. When I finished, tears hot on my cheeks, he drew me in his lap, lips brushing my temple. "Brave as hell coming out to them. But you don't owe anyone your truth except yourself." We ended up on the couch, bodies entwined and slow, affirming touches that chased away the shadows, his mouth mapping paths of acceptance across my skin. But cracks in our fragile idol appeared like fault lines under pressure. Work ramped up, my boss piling on features for a client launch, leaving me buried in screens until midnight. Jordan's gigs dried up. A mural commission fell through, echoes of military bureaucracy that left him pacing the loft like a caged wolf. One night, I arrived late, exhausted, collapsing onto his bed without a word. He followed, but the air felt thick. "You ghosted my text today," he said quietly, sitting on the edge. "Everything okay?" Guilt twisted in me. I'd seen it, buried under notifications, too drained to respond. "Sorry, just swamp." His sigh was heavy. "I get it. But this us needs more than scraps." The argument simmered low, words like embers. My fear of vulnerability clashing with his scars from abandonment. "I'm not Tommy." I snapped when he accused me of pulling away, the name a ghost between us. He flinched, eyes flashing hurt. "No, but you're building walls he never did." We made up in the heat of it, anger fueling a frantic collision of bodies against the wall, nails raking backs, breaths mingling in desperate pleas. But the seed of doubt took root, whispering that maybe I wasn't ready for this depth, this demand to be seen fully. Thanksgiving loomed like a storm cloud, my parents' invitation a polite grenade. I confided in Jordan over beers at a dive bar in Ballard, the jukebox crooning old Springsteen tunes about working-class dreams. "Tell them, or don't," he advised, foam clinging to his mustache. "But don't let fear drive the car." Emboldened, I rehearsed in the mirror that night, words tumbling awkward and raw. The call to Mom came easier than expected, her stunned silence stretching, then softening into questions laced with love. "We just want you happy, Alex. Whoever makes you smile." Dad grumbled later, gruff acceptance wrapped in, "As long as he's good to you," and I hung up lighter, texting Jordan a heart emoji that said everything. We celebrated our own way, feasting on pie from a bakery in Pike Place, wandering the market stalls hand in hand, the scent of salmon and flowers mingling with salt air. Under the public market sign, he pulled me into an alcove, kissing me with the ferocity of reclaimed freedom. "Proud of you," he murmured against my lips, And in that moment, Seattle felt like home. Not the gray grind, but the vibrant undercurrent of lives intertwined. Yet fate, that capricious bastard, had other plans. A week later, Jordan's phone rang in the dead of night. His ex, Marcus, a fellow vet from his unit, spiraling in a VA hospital hallway. Overdose scare. Jordan bolted, leaving a note. Family emergency. Call you soon. Days turned to silence, my texts unanswered, worry gnawing like acid. I drove to the loft unannounced, finding it empty, easels gathering dust. A neighbor mentioned he'd taken off for Tacoma, visiting Marcus, but the radio static of doubt filled my head. Old flames reigniting, my insecurities screaming I was just a pit stop. Desperation led me to the VA center, 2 hours south on I-5, rain lashing the windshield like accusations. I found him in the waiting room, slumped in a plastic chair, eyes hollowed by exhaustion. Alex. Surprise flickered, then guilt. What are you doing here? We talked in hushed tones amid beeps and murmurs. Marcus stabilizing, but the pull of brotherhood a tether Jordan couldn't sever. He saved my life once, Jordan confessed, voice raw. Feels like I owe him mine. I nodded, hand on his knee, but the fear lingered. Was there room for me in a heart divided? The drive back was quiet, hands clasped over the console, the Olympics rising misty in the distance. I'm not going anywhere, I promised, and he squeezed, a silent vow. But as we crossed back into the city, thunder rumbling anew, I wondered if love was enough to weather the gales ahead, or if we'd shatter like glass under the weight. Winter clamped down on Seattle like a vice, frost etching patterns on windows that mirrored the intricate frostbite creeping into our bond. Jordan threw himself into a new project, a street art installation for a community center in the Central District, murals depicting queer heroes from history, vibrant strokes against brick backdrops of struggle and triumph. I tagged along one crisp afternoon, bundled in scarves, handing him spray, cans as he scaled scaffolding, his focus a thing of beauty. This one's for Tommy, he called down, tagging a silhouette of 2 soldiers embracing under a rainbow flag. Watching him, paint flecking his cheeks like war paint, I felt a swell of pride laced with ache. How could someone so broken create something so whole? My own world tilted toward change. Emboldened by the Thanksgiving thaw with my family, I tender my resignation, the words tasting like liberation on my tongue. Pursuing passion projects, I told my boss, vague enough to skirt details, but inside, visions danced to freelance coding for nonprofits, apps that connected isolated LGBTQ youth to mentors. Jordan celebrated with me that night, popping a bottle of cheap champagne on his balcony, the Space Needle twinkling like a distant promise. Toasts clinked, bubbles fizzing on our lips before kisses turned heated, bodies pressing against the railing until we stumbled inside, laughing and shedding layers like old skins. But Marcus's shadow lingered, a specter in our stolen moments. Jordan drove down every other weekend, updates sparse. He's in group therapy now, talking real for once. I supported from afar, sending care packages of books on resilience, but jealousy gnawed, irrational and sharp. One evening, after a particularly long silence, I confronted him over pad thai in my cramped Belltown apartment, the city lights casting golden halos through rain-streaked glass. Is this us? Just a detour for you? The question slipped out barbed, and he set his fork down, eyes narrowing. Detour? Alex, you're the first real thing since. He stopped, jaw tightening. Marcus's family, broken as it is. But you? You're home. The reassurance soothed, but not fully, and we channeled the tension into passion, the kitchen table bearing witness to urgent hands and muffled cries. Sleep came fitful after, dreams haunted by sand-swept tents and faces I didn't know. Morning brought clarity, or so I thought. A package arrived at my door, unmarked, containing a sketch Jordan had done weeks ago. Me, captured in pencil strokes with eyes alight, titled North Star. Tucked inside, a note, sorry for the distance. Let's run together. Tears blurred the lines as I called him, voice thick. I love you. The words escaped unbidden, hanging in the ether. Silence stretched, then his whisper, God, Alex, I love you too. New Year's Eve dawned brittle cold, the city buzzing with anticipation. We joined a queer block party in Capitol Hill, streets alive with drag queens in glittering gowns, fireworks popping like celebratory gunfire. Hand in hand, bold, Unashamed, we danced to pulsing beats under string lights, bodies swaying in sync, his breath hot on my neck as midnight neared. When the clock struck, confetti rained, and lips met in a kiss that sealed resolutions unspoken. This year, no more hiding, he vowed later, as we walked home arm in arm, snow flurries dusting our shoulders like blessings. January brought tests of that vow. My sister, Lena, visited from Portland, her whirlwind energy filling my apartment with takeout boxes and gossip. She cornered me in the kitchen while Jordan stepped out for groceries. He's hot, and he looks at you like you're the sun. But Spill, is this serious? I nodded, grinning like a fool, and she hugged me fierce. Dad's coming around, sent a card last week. Proud my boy. The endorsement warmed, but when Jordan returned, the dynamic shifted. Lena's probing questions about his service drawing out stories laced with pain, his laughs forced around the edges. Tension peaked at a family dinner I hosted, inviting my parents up for a weekend. Dad arrived gruff, Mom fluttering with pies, and Jordan charmed with quiet humor, flipping burgers on the balcony grill. But over dessert, Dad cornered him. Heard you served. Respect that. Just take care of my son, yeah? Jordan met his gaze steady. With everything I've got, sir. The approval hung tentative, but it was progress, a bridge over chasms. Later, alone in bed, Jordan's arms around me. He murmured, your family's more than I ever had. Makes me want to build one with you. February's chill deepened with a call from Tacoma. Marcus relapsed, bad, admitted against his will. Jordan's face crumpled as he packed a bag, the loft echoing with his absence. Days blurred into anxious waits. My shifts at a new co-working space in Pioneer Square distraction at best. I drove down uninvited again, finding him in a coffee shop near the hospital, hollow-eyed over a cold latte. Can't fix him, he admitted, voice breaking. Feels like failing twice over. I slid into the booth, hand over his. You're not. Loving him as a brother doesn't make you less for me. We talked for hours, plans spilling, therapy for him, couples counseling for us, dreams of a road trip down the coast come spring. The drive home was cathartic, windows down despite the bite, wind whipping confessions free. Marry me? He asked suddenly, casual as the radio's hum. My heart stuttered. What? He grinned, sheepish. Not now, but someday. If you'll have a mess like me. Laughter bubbled, joy fierce. Yes. God, yes. We pulled over at a viewpoint, making out like teenagers against the truck, the Puget Sound sprawling below like an ocean of tomorrows. But March roared in with gales, literal and figurative. A gallery in Soto offered Jordan a solo show, his murals gaining buzz, but deadlines clashed with Marcus's discharge, pulling him in dual directions. I buried myself in code, an app prototype for queer support groups, taking shape on my laptop, late nights fueled by energy drinks and worry. One storm-lashed evening, he stormed into my place, soaked and furious. Marcus bailed on rehab. Show's tomorrow, and I can't even focus. The fight erupted, my accusation of neglect met with his roar of frustration. You think this is easy? Balancing ghosts and a future. Words flew like lightning. My fear of abandonment, his terror of loss. A vase shattered, shards glittering like accusations, and we stood panting, chests heaving. Then collapse, arms wrapping, sobs mingling as apologies poured. I can't lose you, he choked. Won't. I promised, leading him to bed where touches mended what shouts tore. Slow, deliberate lovemaking, eyes locked, bodies affirming the vows we'd yet to speak. The show opened to murmurs of awe. Jordan's piece is a raw tapestry of love and war, queer resilience etched in every line. I stood beside him, hand in his pocket, as collectors nodded approval. This is us, he whispered, gesturing to a central canvas. Two figures intertwined against a stormy skyline, faces yours and mine. Pride swelled, but so did the undercurrent of fragility. Marcus's text sporadic, my app pitching to investors with heart-pounding stakes. As spring teased with crocuses in Discovery Park, we hiked its trails one Sunday, hands swinging, breath sinking with the tide's rhythm. Road trip soon? He suggested, plopping on a driftwood log. I leaned into him, head on shoulder. California coast. Just us. Plans sketched in sand, Big Sur sunsets, wine tastings in Napa, nights under stars unmarred by city haze. But as gulls cried overhead, a call shattered the idyll. Dad, voice tight. Mom's sick. breast cancer. Come home. The world tilted, priorities realigning in the crash. Jordan drove me to Portland that night, his presence a bulwark against the fear. At the hospital, Mom frail in her gown, she squeezed my hand. Brought your man? Good. Life's too short for hiding. Dad nodded, eyes misty, the family circle tightening around us. Jordan fit seamlessly, fetching coffee, cracking gentle jokes, his steadiness a gift I clung to. Back in Seattle, grief's aftershocks rippled. Chemo appointments meant weekend drives south, my coding sidelined, Jordan's brushes idle. We leaned on each other, quiet nights in with soups and documentaries, his head in my lap as I read poetry aloud. Whitman's verses on comrades, love's expansive sea. Intimacy shifted tender, less fire, more hearth, reaffirming in whispers and caresses that we were each other's harbor. Yet strain showed, missed deadlines for my app demo, a canceled mural consult for him. One rainy Tuesday, argument flared anew over dinner. You're pulling away again, he accused. From Mom, not you. The lie tasted bitter. Truth was exhaustion fraying us. We parted angry, doors slamming like thunderclaps, but midnight texts bridged. Sorry. Need you. Reunion at dawn, bodies colliding in forgiveness. The bed our battlefield turned sanctuary. Summer whispered on the wind. Mom scans promising remission, a fragile hope. We stole a weekend away, cabin in the Olympics, no signal, just pines and a wood stove's crackle. There, under quilted nights, he proposed for real. Rings simple, silver with engraved compass. Point is true, I teased, tears falling. Always. Laughter, love, a future etched in starlight. But autumn leaves fell with warnings. Marcus vanished, a suicide note left in his apartment. Jordan crumbled, the call pulling him under like riptide. I held him through nights of screams and silence. Therapy sessions double-booked, our love a lifeline stretched taut. Can't breathe without you, he gasped one dawn, and I whispered back. Then we'll breathe for each other. Healing came slow, in fragments. Group hikes with vet buddies, my app launching to quiet acclaim, connecting souls like ours. Mom's hair regrew, curls defiant, family dinners now including Jordan's stories, Dad's toast to our boys. And in the quiet after, we stood stronger, scars badges of battles won. The weight of Marcus's absence settled like fog over the sound, thick and unrelenting, muting the colors Jordan once chased with fervent strokes. Funerals in Tacoma were stark affairs. Khakis and condolences, the chaplain's words hollow echoes in a chapel smelling of polished wood and regret. I stood beside him, arm linked, as eulogies painted a man fractured by sands and silence, loved fiercely in shadows. Jordan spoke last, voice steady but eyes storm-tossed. He was my north in the chaos. Rest easy, brother. Afterward, in the cemetery's hush, rain misting graves, he broke, sobs racking his frame as I held him, the earth soft under our knees, promising without words that I'd be his compass now. Back home, grief's tendrils wrapped tight. Jordan withdrew into the loft, canvases blank, beers piling like unanswered prayers. I tiptoed around silences, cooking meals he barely touched, my app's user testimonials a distant hum against his quiet. One evening, finding him staring at Tommy's old dog tags on the nightstand, I knelt beside. Talk to me. He shook his head, jaw clenched. Feels like I'm cursed, lose everyone I let close. The accusation stung unspoken, but I pressed on. Not me, not us. His hand found mine, trembling, and we clung there, anchors in the undertow. Therapy became our ritual, separate sessions bleeding into joint ones at a clinic in Queen, and the counselor's office a sanctuary of plants and soft lamps. Jordan unpacked IED blasts and dishonorable whispers, the queer undercurrent of barracks bonds twisted by don't ask edicts. I shared family fractures, the app's birth from my own isolation. Progress crept. His brushes reclaimed one dawn, violent reds bleeding into hopeful golds. My pitch to a Seattle startup accelerator landed, funding whispers of expansion. Nights, we rebuilt intimacy. Baths drawn steamy, bodies soapy and slow, rediscovering curves and hollows with reverence, moans mingling with murmured affirmations. Mom's remission held, a beacon pulling us south for holidays. Portland's suburbs bloomed with her garden's defiance, roses climbing trellises like veins of strength. Dad grilled Jordan on football scores, a gruff camaraderie forming over backyard beers. Lena arrived with her partner, a tattooed barista named Riley, their easy affection a mirror for ours. Hands brushed casual, kisses stolen in kitchens. "You're glowing," Lena teased me post-dinner as Jordan and Dad debated Seahawks plays. "He makes me whole," I admitted, watching him laugh, lines around his eyes softening. But shadows lengthened with opportunities knock. The accelerator invited me to San Francisco for a demo week, tech bros and venture vultures circling my app like sharks. Jordan's gallery show toured south, a month in LA's art scene. Separate cities, same hearts. He joked overpacking, but anxiety laced it. We vowed calls daily, visits woven in, but distance tested like acid on solder. My first night in the Bay, hotel sterile and echoing. His video chat face pixelated but precious. "Miss your warmth," I confessed, and he grinned wicked, angling the phone lower. "Show me." Laughter turned heated, screens bridging what miles tore, climaxes shared in gasps and grins. SF dazzled. Networking mixers and lofts overlooking the Golden Gate, pitches honing sharp as bay fog. Investors nodded at my demo, stories of users finding community through the app's maps and chats. Queer kids in red states no longer adrift. Offers trickled, seed funding from a firm championing diverse founders, relocation perks that tempted with sun and salary. Back in Seattle, Jordan's tour buzzed, reviews hailing his raw queer narratives, sales funding a studio dream. But envy flickered, his spotlight steady, mind fracturing under choices. Reunion at SFO was electric. His truck idling curbside, me tumbling into arms that smelled of desert sage and city grit. Road-weary, we detoured to Big Sur, the cabin we dreamed of manifesting in redwoods and ocean roar. Days blurred. Hikes to hidden coves, bodies slick with sea spray and sweat. Nights by firelight where proposals echoed. "Still yes," he asked. Ring glinting on my finger, simple band engraved with intertwined initials. "Eternity," I replied, sealing it with a kiss that tasted of salt and forever. LA pulled him next. Murals for Pride Center in West Hollywood, rainbows exploding on stucco walls. I flew down weekends, app meetings morphing into gallery crawls, his hand in mine through sunset crowds. One night, at a rooftop after-party, champagne fizzing under string lights, a collector cornered him. Flirty overtures veiled as business, hand lingering on arm. Jealousy surged irrational, but I pulled him aside, breath hot. "Mine." He laughed low, backing me against a rail. "Always." The alley behind led to frantic release, walls cool against fevered skin, reclaiming in thrusts and bites. Return to Seattle sharpened forks in the road. The SF offer formalized, 6 figures, equity, a team to build the app's empire. Jordan Studio lease signed, Fremont loft expanding to shared walls. "Stay," he urged over dinner at our favorite taqueria, tacos steaming. "Build here with me." But ambition warred with love, visions of scaling impact clashing against domestic dreams. Sleepless nights followed, arguments simmering. "This is our shot," I countered. "Our? Or yours?" Pain lanced, old wounds reopening. Decision crystallized in crisis. Mom's checkup revealed recurrence. Metastatic, aggressive. Portland called, family rallying. I deferred SF, Jordan canceling a panel to drive south with me. Hospital vigils became our vigil, his sketches capturing her spirit in quick lines. My app adapted for patient support groups. Dad's hand on Jordan's shoulder one night. "Son, you're family now." The word broke him, tears silent, and I held them both, love's glue and grief's forge. Summer waned with Mom's fight fierce, experimental trials buying time. We married quiet, in a backyard ceremony under Portland oaks, Lena officiating with vows we'd penned tear-streaked. Rings exchanged, Jordan's voice steady. "In storms and sun, you're my true north. Mine, and you're the hand that pulls me through." Guests few, Riley's cheers, Dad's toast choked with pride, but joy pure, dances under lanterns to our song, bodies swaying close. Fall brought turning. Mom stabilized, a miracle in scans, her hug fierce. "Live big, boys." For me, SF rescinded gracefully, Seattle scene welcoming my app with local grants. Jordan's studio thrived, apprentices learning under his wing, queer youth mentored in paint and story. We moved into a Craftsman in Wallingford, creaky floors and garden plot, weekends planting roots literal and figurative. But life's gales didn't cease. A winter storm downed power lines, stranding us in candlelight, his PTSD flaring in thunder's boom. Flashbacks pulling him under, my arms his tether. Stay with me, I begged, rocking him through shakes. Dawn brought apologies, but growth. EMDR sessions deepening, my coding weaving mental health threads into the app. Spring bloomed with adoption talks. Fostering a teen, Jamie, 16 and fierce, outed and ousted from Bible Belt kin. Home visits tested, his wary eyes softening at Jordan's murals, my app demos sparking grins. Approval came summer solstice, papers signed under solstice sun, family expanding in laughter and lessons. Years layered like Seattle's rains. App acquired by a non-profit giant. Impact rippling nationwide. Jordan's book of art and essays. Compass points. Bestseller in queer lit circles. Mom's health held. Grandkids and dreams. Now Jamie sketches. Through it all, anniversaries marked with coast drives. Hands clasped over shifters. Whispers of that rainy night. One eve, porch swing creaking. Jamie inside with friends. Jordan turned to me. Hazel eyes soft. Needed a hand that night, but you gave me a lifetime. I kissed him slow, hearts synced. Unforgettable, every damn day. Time's river carved deeper channels in our lives, polishing rough edges into something luminous, though not without undercurrents that tugged at the seams. Jamie's integration was a masterclass in patience. His first months a gauntlet of slammed doors and midnight rants, echoes of foster homes past. Why trust you suits? He'd snap. Hoodie pulled low over eyes that mirrored my own youthful defiance. Jordan met fire with calm, inviting him to the studio where spray cans became conduits, walls blooming with graffiti tags that screamed identity, safe from judgment. I coded alongside, app updates incorporating teen forums, his input sharpening features like a whetstone on steel. Breakthrough came gradual, a shared hike in Rattlesnake Ledge, backpacks heavy with sandwiches, views of the Cascades unfolding like a promise. At the summit, wind whipped, Jamie cracked a joke about our old man, vibes, and Jordan slung an arm around him, no flinch. Family's what we make, kid. Tears welled unspoken. And that night, over pizza scarred with burn marks from his experiments, he called us dads. The word landed like sunlight after eclipse, our hugs fierce, sealing the trio. Mom's visits upped the ante, her energy undimmed by scars. Baking sessions in our kitchen filling the air with cinnamon and stories. He reminds me of you, Alex, stubborn heart, she'd say of Jamie, winking as Jordan mediated flower fights. Dad bonded over garage tinkering, teaching the boy carburetors while slipping in life lessons wrapped in grease. Lena and Riley's wedding in Portland sealed it, a beachside affair with vows exchanged to crashing waves. Jamie is ring bearer in a suit he actually smiled in. Jordan and I danced under tiki torches, his whisper hot. Our turn to renew someday? Works tides, rose benevolent. The app's acquisition funded expansions, outposts in Chicago and Atlanta, virtual meetups bridging rural divides. A keynote at a queer tech summit in New York, stage lights hot, words flowing on visibility's power. Jordan's book tour crisscross coasts, readings packed with vets and artists, his vulnerability a bridge to healing. But spotlight's glare revealed fissures, paparazzi snaps of us at events sparking online trolls, slurs slicing through feeds like shrapnel. One backlash wave crested vicious, a conservative blog decrying our agenda in schools, app download spiking then dipping under boycott calls. Sleepless, I scrolled venom, doubt creeping. Jordan found me at dawn, laptop glowing accusatory. Their noise doesn't define us. He pulled me to the studio, handing a brush. Paint over it. Canvas became catharsis, splashes of defiant color. Our hands smeared, bodies following suit on drop cloths. Release in rhythm and release. Jamie's senior year brought triumphs laced with tempests. College apps loomed, his portfolio of digital art, blending my code with Jordan's vision, earning scholarships to RISD. But prom night drama erupted. Date bailed after parental ultimatums. whispers of freak echoing hallways. We rallied. Jordan digging out his old leather jacket, me curating a playlist of anthems. He went solo, head high, photos later showing grins amid glitter. Pride swelled, but so did protectiveness. We advocated at school board, voices joining parents' chorus for inclusive policies. Anniversary 10th dawned misty, Seattle's marine layer lifting to blue. We retraced that highway, truck rumbling to the overpass where fate first sparked. Picnic spread on hood, sandwiches from the same deli, rain threatening but holding. Remember the hook? Jordan teased, pulling me close. Stranded soul meets rugged savior. Laughter bubbled, turning tender as hands wandered, memories igniting under gray skies. Best detour ever, I murmured, his kiss sealing it. Midlife's markers arrived subtle. A gray-haired Jordan plucked with mock horror, my knee twinging on runs through Green Lake. Mom's health wavered again, a scare with pneumonia landing her in ICU. Monitors beeping like accusations of time's theft. We caravanned south, Jamie acing finals via Zoom from her bedside, Jordan sketching her sleeping form with fierce love. Recovery slow, but her discharge brought barbecues renewed, toasts to warriors among us. Jamie's graduation was a pinnacle. Cap and gown under Fremont Trollbridge, his speech on found families drawing cheers and my tears. ISD bound, dorm packed with easels and laptops, goodbye hugs ached but proud. Empty nest echoed first weeks, our home too quiet, dinner's conversations looping nostalgic. What now? Jordan pondered over wine on the deck, city lights winking. Us. Again. Rediscovery bloomed, date nights at forgotten jazz clubs, weekend getaways to San Juan Islands, kayaks slicing Salish Sea, nights in cabins where touches rediscovered youth's fire. Crisis revisited in autumn's chill. Jordan's PTSD, long dormant, flared under stress, a book deadline, gallery dispute, thunder mimicking mortars. Nightmares clawed him awake, sweats soaking sheets, my name a lifeline gasped in dark. We revisited EMDR, sessions delving deeper, unearthing guilt over Marcus, Tommy, the wars within. I held space, app evolving with vet support modules, his illustrations gracing pages. Progress measured in morning's calm, brushes flowing free. Holiday season wrapped us in warmth. Thanksgiving at Lena's, Riley's kin expanding the circle, Jamie FaceTiming from Providence with tales of East Coast chaos. Christmas morning, gifts unwrapped to reveal Jordan's surprise. Tickets to Paris, City of Lights for our delayed honeymoon. Defer dreams, he said, eyes sparkling. New Year's in a Marais, queer bars pulsing, Eiffel Tower aglow, our dance under stars of vow renewed. Return invigorated, but life's script twisted anew. A call from an old army contact. Classified docs surfacing, queer service members suing for back pay, Jordan's testimony sought. Reliving sand and secrecy wrung him dry, depositions draining, media hounding our door. I shielded, app's platform amplifying voices, petitions surging. Court victory bittersweet, justice late but landmark, his book updated with chapters raw. Spring brought renewal. Mom's garden party, health a steady flame. Jamie's summer internship at our studio, Bridging Worlds. We adopted a rescue dog, Max, a mutt with Jordan's loyal eyes, walks through Discovery Park grounding us. Evenings on porch, his head on my shoulder, sunset painting skies in pinks and golds. Grateful, he murmured, for the hand, the heart, the everything. Summer's heat wave tested air conditioners and resolve. A heatstroke scare for Dad during a visit, hospital again, but quick rebound. We hosted a block party, neighbors mingling with queer allies, grill smoking, music thumping. Jamie arrived with a boyfriend, shy artist from school, hands tentative but true. Acceptance flowed easy, toasts raised to love's multiplicities. Fall's harvest moon saw Jordan's retrospective at Sam, halls echoing with our history. Early murals to late masterpieces, labels crediting my husband, my muse. Opening night, suits sharp, champagne bubbling, his speech choked. From a rainy breakdown to this, love's the real art. Applause thundered, my kiss claiming him amid flashes. Winter whispered closures. Mom's final scan clear, a remission etched in joy. We wintered in Portland, family hearth, stories swapped till dawn. Back north, snow blanketing Fremont, we skied Snoqualmie, falls thundering like applause for endurance. Decades encircled to beginnings. 20 years on, that overpass revisited, truck older but trusty. Picnic evolved to craft beers and reflections. Still unforgettable, Jordan asked, silver threading his beard. More each day, I replied, hands entwined, rain pattering soft, reminder that storms pass, but love endures, hand in hand through every night. Legacies loom wove intricate now, threads of past and present tangling into tapestries we scarcely recognized. Jamie's RISD years flew, visits to Providence revealing a young man bloomed, exhibitions and lofts were his hybrid art, code-infused installations pulsing with light and narrative, drew crowds and critics. Dad's influence, he'd credit in interviews, humility masking the pride that lit his calls home. We attended his thesis show, gallery humming with interactive pieces, a virtual desert where users navigated queer bonds amid virtual blasts, Jordan's scars informing the grit, my algorithms the escape routes. Pride season amplified. Our float in Seattle's parade a spectacle, app-branded banners fluttering, Jordan's murals on trailers depicting intertwined hands across divides. Jamie rode shotgun, megaphone rallying cheers, his boyfriend Kai waving rainbow flags with infectious grin. After party at home spilled into streets, neighbors toasting resilience, Max the dog stealing bites amid laughter. But euphoria crested with underbelly. A protest clash downtown, counter-demonstrators hurling slurs, scuffle pulling Jordan back to barracks brawls. I yanked him clear, heart hammering, but the bruise on his knuckles mirrored the one on our collective spirit. Mom's 60th dawn triumphant, a cruise down the Columbia. Family packed tight on decks, her curls windswept, Dad's arm steady. Anecdotes flowed. My coming-out redux, Jordan's service tales sanitized for ants, Jamie's quips landing like punches. Toasts clinked to survivors, her speech fierce. Love's the best medicine, keeps us fighting. Private decks brought tears, her hand in mine. You boys made me braver. Work's zenith crested with accolades. My app rebranded national. TED Talk invite landing with a thud of awe. Stage fright gripped, but Jordan coached. Rehearsals in the studio where he'd mime audiences with Max as prop. New York dazzled, footlights hot, words pouring on visibility's ripple. One connection sparked my world. Imagine millions. Applause crashed. Book deals whispered, but hotel nights alone ached. His text a bomb. Start a night. Home to my son. Jordan's acclaim paralleled. MacArthur Whispering's genius grant for his queer veteran series. Canvas's touring MoMA. Media frenzy followed. Profiles probing scars. His candor a blade cutting silence. A podcast deep dive unearthed pain. Dishonorable discharge details. Lovers lost a policy. Listeners surged, but so did hate mail. Envelopes venomous. We burned them in the fireplace, ashes swirling like exorcism, bodies seeking solace after, slow dances turning to urgent claims. Jamie's graduation cap toss marked milestones, diploma clutched, Kai's ring glinting promise, job offer from a Brooklyn gallery, farewell dinner in our garden, string lights twinkling, toasts bittersweet. You launched me, he said, hugs lingering. Empty nest redux, but fuller now, visits promised, grandkids in Kai's sketches. Our home quieted, echoes of his laughter fading, prompting renovations. Studio addition for guest art space. Garden expanded with Jamie's roses. Crisis circled, unexpected. A heart scare for Jordan during a mural climb. Ladder tipping, fall jarring ribs. ER lights harsh, monitors beeping. My hand vice grip on his. Not leaving you, he rasped, morphine slurring. Recovery chained him to couches, my freelance schedule flexing for nurse duty. Soups simmered, books read aloud, touches gentle mapping healing. Gratitude bloomed in confinement. Board games with Lena visiting, Max's head in lap, plans for sabbaticals whispered. Fall's foliage framed renewal. Mom's book club adopting Jordan's work. Discussions lively over her teas. Dad's woodworking shop welcoming Jamie's tools on visits. Halloween block party saw us as icons. Jordan in fatigues, painted rainbow. Me in circuit board suit, kids clamoring for candy and stories. Thanksgiving gathered all, table groaning under turkey and tales, gratitude circling like grace. Winter's grip softened with Paris Redux. Anniversary gift unwrapped to Eiffel views anew, but deeper now, bistros yielding to quiet sane walks, hands pocketed against chill. Louvre whispers turned personal. Venus de Milo's arms a metaphor for embraces lost and found. Hotel nights reignited, sheets tangled in rediscovery. His murmur, aging with you beats youth alone. Spring unfurled advocacy arcs, testimony before Congress on queer vet rights. Jordan's voice steady in marble halls, my app data backing claims. Bill pass narrow, celebrations in DC bars, toast to Tommy, Marcus, all unnamed. Return home buzzed with purpose, collaborations spawning. App features for vet art therapy, his illustrations live. Summer solstice brought surprise. Jamie's call, voice trembling. Pregnant? No, adopting. Kai's cousin's kid, son. Shock rippled to joy, plans accelerating for godparent roles, nursery sketches flying. Portland baby shower overflowed, mom's quilts wrapping tiny miracles, dad's crib handcrafted sturdy. Fall equinox aligned, eclipses personal, a biopsy for me, shadow on lung from city smog, weight agonizing. Jordan's vigil matched mine past, hands clasped in waiting rooms, humor his shield. If chemo, I'll shave solidarity. Benign, relief, crash like waves, life affirmed in hospital kisses, vowing checkups routine. Jamie's parenthood dawned chaotic, little Aria arriving squalling, our flights east frequent, diapers and midnight feeds bonding anew. Grandpa's cooed, Jordan's lullabies gruff sung, my algorithms tracking feeds half joking. Home echoed fuller on returns, baby blankets draped, hearts expanded. Decades cusp whispered reflections, 25th anniversary hike to that ledge, views eternal. Picnic modern, charcuterie, wine, rings polished bright. Hand still needed, he teased. Always offering more, I replied, kiss deepening under pines. Legacy solidified, foundation launched in our names, funding queer art tech hybrids. Mom's memoir, Ghosted by Me, tales of love's evolutions. Dad's retirement party, speeches lauding his quiet allyship. Holidays layered, Passover seders with Kai's kin, Diwali lights from neighbors, traditions tapestry woven. One eve, Aria toddling at our feet during visit, Jordan caught my eye over her curls. From breakdown to this symphony. Tears pricked, love's crescendo, unending. Rain-tapped windows gentle, reminder. Every storm births rainbows, hands clasp the bridge. Cycles turned inexorable, seasons blurring into a continuum where youth's sharp edges softened to wisdom's glow, our love the constant current beneath. Aria's laughter filled visits like sunlight through canopies, her tiny fingers smudging Jordan's canvases, my screens alight with her babble translating algorithms. Playful prototypes born of grandfatherly whimsy. Jamie and Kai's Brooklyn brownstone became second home. Weekends in parks where she chased pigeons, her dad's beaming, us the steady backdrop of stories and spoiling. Mom's 80th crested poignant, a Napa vineyard bash under balloon arches, vines heavy with promise. Wheelchair-bound but spirit soaring, she pulled us aside post-cake. You showed me love's shapes, endless, unbreakable. Dad's arm around her, eyes misty, whispered of end-of-life plans, but her grin defied. Plenty plots left. Toasts lingered late, stars pricking velvet skies. Jordan's sketch of her amid grapes, a keepsake clutched tight. Work's harvest reaped abundantly. My app ecosystem now global, partnerships with UNESCO bridging continents, queer voices amplified from Nairobi to Sydney. Keynote circuits waned, mentorships rising. Interns in our home office, diverse faces hungry for code and courage. Jordan's retrospective spanned continents, but teaching anchored. Master classes at Yale, his gravel voice imparting not just technique, but testimony. Art heals what policy harms. Jamie's gallery directorship bloomed. Solo show for Aria's inspiration, pieces. Child scrawls digitized into immersive worlds. Opening night, Manhattan glitz, her in a frock twirling amid projections. Our pride oceanic. But shadows intruded. Kai's diagnosis, lymphoma creeping insidious, treatments taxing their rhythm. We flew support. Me handling logistics, apps tracking meds. Jordan drawing with Aria, distractions in color. Vigil echoed hours past, hands held across hospital beds, love's labor unyielding. Resolution came hard-won. Remission declared spring, celebrations and Central Park picnics, area's cake smeared triumphant. Families fighters, Kai toasted frail but fierce, and we nodded scars kin. Home front evolved. Max's passing quiet, buried under garden roses, his collar on mantle sentinel. New pup, Luna, yipped chaos, walks renewing steps. Renovations circled, sunroom added for winter reads, bookshelves groaning with our joint memoir in progress, hands across storms, alternating chapters of that night and now. Anniversary 30th dawned serendipitous. Overpass revisited, but truck traded for electric sleek, eco-dream realized. Dawn breaking, coffee steaming, we leaned on hood, city stirring below. Unforgettable evolved, Jordan mused, silver beard catching light. To indelible, I countered, ring-twined hands sealing epics. Mom's fade came gentle autumn, hospice bed our vigil circle. Lena's songs, Dad's stories, Jamie's aria cuddles, Jordan's final portrait capturing her piece. Passing under harvest moon, room filled with her sigh. We held each other, grief a tide receding to reveal sands reshaped. Funeral lakeside, ashes scattered to Willamette's flow, her words echoed. Live big. Winter wrapped morning soft, holidays hybrid, Zoom toast with Jamie's crew, Portland gathering smaller, but sacred. Dad moved north, guest room his, stories filling evenings over chess, his boys now elders in his eyes. Spring's thaw birth bequests, Mom's foundation for cancer warriors, our signature seeding grants, app module for grief circles, Jordan's illustrations framing loss as light. Travels beckon gentler, train to Vancouver, whale watches from rails, hands window framed against mountains. Summer's heat hosted reunions, area's 5th birthday bash in our yard, cousins romping, cakes tiered high. Jordan officiated a grandpa vow ceremony, silly odes to adventures, her giggles gold. Dad's remarriage surprise, a quiet widow from book club, joy twinkling his eyes anew. Fall's palette painted transitions, Jamie's promotion to curatorial lead, Kai's health steadying careers. Our book launched to acclaim, signings drawing vets and youth, dialogues healing across generations. TED Readix for me, Silver Fox stage presence lauding longevity's lessons, loves the code that compiles through crashes. Jamie's second, a boy named Theo, arrived solstice, doubling delights, diapers doubled, but joys exponential. Godparent duties deepened, lullabies dual, our home portal for chaos and cuddles. Anniversaries layered, 35th under northern lights, Iceland's auroras dancing our private show, geothermal pools steaming vows. Still offering more? Jordan queried, steam-veiled. Infinitely. I breathed, bodies merging in thermal embrace. Legacy's full circle spun Dad's 90th. Care home festooned. Tales retold with embellishments. His toast slurred sweet. From doubts to this, proudest plot twist. Tears flowed, arms linked generations. One eve, porch swing eternal, Luna at feet, city hum distant, Jordan's head on shoulder. That night car rain you. I kissed temple. Hand to heart, storm to sun. Rain pattered prelude, but we sat dry in love's umbrella. Unforgettable etched eternal.